Welcome back. Fantasy football, new world fantasy football. But yes, welcome back, fantasy football and real
It's
football.
football. It's football
No,
time.
absolutely, man. We're super excited, dude. It's time. We have waited, twiddled our thumbs, um, suffered through some of the ugliest preseason football, you know, and it's time for the real deal. And man, I am so excited and so sad that Travis Kelce won't be there week 1.
Yeah, that is a bummer, a very significant bummer to the Travis Kelce owners that invested a top 5 pick in some cases. So super sad face for them. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's terrible. It doesn't look like it's going to be like a season-ending injury. Certainly, the ligaments are still there, but could he be out a couple weeks? It's very possible. Is he going to be out on Thursday? Probably. It's too
Yeah.
quick of a turnaround, in my opinion. But other than that, man, like we'll get into the news, and there's been plenty of injuries for us to catch up on. I know we'll get into all that stuff, but I'm just pumped. It's been a while since we did this too. We had some. I know you had a little boy's birthday to prepare for, some traveling. I got by the COVID, but we got past all that shit, and now we're here to talk about some ball.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here, man, and it's time. It's freaking time. So, dude, week 1, the NFL schedule makers decided we are going to go crazy. The highest over under of the week is Thursday night, is tomorrow night. So I think when this show is out, it'll be 2
They
nights.
knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah. They wanted everybody just to get so excited for football that those 2 days in between Friday and Saturday, like nobody's getting any work done on Friday. You're going into the office and you're chilling by the water cooler for like 5 hours.
That's gonna be me.
That's gonna be Paul because he doesn't really work, but he pretends to. That's cool. Good for you, man. Good for you. You just like Adidas. All I do is what is it? All I do is dream about sports. All I do is talk about fantasy.
Couldn't agree more.
Dude, so you wanted to talk a little bit about fantasy football and just kind of give one piece of advice, and we'll each give one piece of advice that we feel is best. Or at least not really best, but just a good piece of advice for people going into the season. So you go ahead and start it off, Paul. What is yours?
Yeah. It's this time of year I try to be a little bit reflective, and I try to like remind myself of mistakes I've made in fantasy seasons past, the ghost of fantasy past, if you will. I'm going to forget probably 3 or 4 weeks into the season because that's, the pressures of the game and the tilting and all that gets into it. But one thing I'm going to really try to focus on this year is not ejecting on rookies as quickly as I have before. I've kind of been that guy before that, I didn't particularly have Justin Jefferson in our league. I think you might have at one point and then, gave up on him or dropped him. And I don't remember the exact scenario around that, but it happens, right? Like, you get a rookie player that is highly drafted, or they look really good in the preseason, or you just like are really excited about them, and they do that rookie thing that they just kind of suck the first few weeks of the season, or they're just not very involved. They don't get a ton of snaps. They're not super like focal in the offense, and then they hang out on waivers for a while. And then week 10 on, they end up winning somebody a fantasy league, and then you end up feeling like a cuck, quite frankly, because you started out drafting them, feeling really good about them, and then you bailed. So I'm going to try not to do that this year.
Yeah, I think that's good advice, and I'm happy to say I never did that with Justin Jefferson because I wouldn't be here today. I would be like
I don't remember the story. I remember there was a story kind of close to that. But I'm sorry for editorializing.
It's okay. I wasn't the victim of that. I would be in a forest somewhere decomposing with some
the Jake Paul forest.
Yeah, I'd have caterpillars like going through my skull and whatnot if that was me. But I will say I've done things like that in the past. Like I've Last year I did draft Christian Watson, and I dropped him
Yep.
midway through the season. So that didn't work out so well for me. I wish I would have had him on my roster. I desperately needed him towards the end of the season. But that's good advice, Paul. And I really have I have two pieces of advice, but they kind of roll into each other. So number one is, now I'm going to date myself here. Find your Peyton Hillis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my first years playing fantasy, I was fortunate enough to pick up Peyton Hillis in his dream season with the Browns, and it just put my team over the top. You know, I was virtually unstoppable after that year, or during that year, and it was awesome. So don't be afraid to make moves, and that kind of goes into my real piece of advice here, which is just don't give up and stay active. If your season doesn't start off as hot as you hope, everybody who's not a complete doomer goes into the season like thinking that their team's going to go off every week, and you drafted the perfect team, and whatever. Mike Evans is going to have 3 touchdowns week 1, and Deontay Johnson is going to go off for 110 and 2, and then the season actually starts and you get some duds. Maybe you eke out a win or two. Maybe you do blow a team out. But even if you start off 1-3, 0-4, like, keep making moves. Your team is not completely useless as long as you make those moves. And don't be afraid to do it, spend some fab, and get your team back to a respectable level. If it doesn't start off right, the way you'd like it to. Because there has been plenty of champions that have started off looking like a crap team, and they ended up being a formidable team that fights their way into the playoffs and then wins it all. We had a guy last year in one of our leagues who he made the playoffs based off of points for. He barely eked in. He won the whole thing. So that's the advice I have for you. Don't give up. Never give up.
That's great advice. I think a great video game character one of these times said, "Never give up. Trust your instincts."
Mm-hmm.
So I certainly subscribe to that, and it's easy to do, right? It's the Barbie Oppenheimer meme, right? It's like preseason versus week 1. Like,
oh yeah,
you just have that 1,000-yard stare with the cigarette falling out of your mouth. No, it absolutely can happen. So that's great advice. Stay with it. You never know what can happen. Fantasy is weird. Football's weird. All that shit is facts. And side note, Peyton Hillis, fucking hero.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that whole thing?
A while back, right? I forget exactly what it was. He saved a kid from something like.
He saved several kids, like his own, and I guess I don't know if it was like friends of his kids or something, but like he was like I think dead for like a little bit. Like he had to get like resuscitated because he like kept going back into the riptide, saving these kids. I'm fuzzy on the details, but either way, I remember reading that, and like that's real man shit.
That's
Shout out to
beyond football. That's beyond football, and he's been a hero more than once in his life because he was a hero for my fantasy team.
That's right.
So, dude, you want to talk about like just the preseason news, kind of wrapping it all up and getting into the season, like kind of where we stand right now?
Yeah, man. Well, obviously we got a lot to catch up on because there's been a little bit of a gap. Obviously, we can probably start with the ones that are probably the most present in fantasy owners' minds right now. We touched on it earlier, Kelsey's knee.
Yeah.
I think that we probably are both in agreement that it's a scare. There are some very puckered sphincters out there in the world right now because of the news around Travis Kelce, but it sounds like he's going to be okay.
Yes. Travis Kelce is going to be just fine, number one. Number two, if you are in a league where Travis Kelce manager is panicking, go ahead and make a trade offer. Just why not? Throw that line out there, and if he or she bites and you get Travis Kelce starting week 3, you just turn your team into a powerhouse by taking advantage of this. It's just like the stock market, man. You know,
Yep.
it
Stock
dips
up,
on
stock
some bad
down.
news, and you buy because you trust and you believe in the company, and you sell when it's overhyped and everyone's buying. Dude, if you have that opportunity and maybe you're in your league, you just have somebody who's already panicking and maybe not the most experienced in fantasy, throw a trade offer for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, agreed. And ultimately, like, yes, I think Travis will be fine eventually. I think that managers that spend a first round pick investment in him are probably not going to be fine week one. Not in the tight end spot. You're probably either picking up Noah Gray, right? Like
Yeah.
immediate replacement. Or you're kind of patching it together with whatever touchdown dependent guys out there. Sucks, but it sounds like it's, kind of a week to week thing.
If you need to pick up Hunter Henry's just going to be that weekly emergency name,
yes.
like every week. I'm just say it now. Like if I ever am talking about this, the answer is Hunter Henry. That's it.
It touchdown or goose.
Yep. And if you have a league where like Gerald Everett's available, that'd be the backup. But so I'm sorry if you are. I am not Kelce manager in any leagues. And am I happy about that? I guess for week one I am. But his draft cost has always been a little too high for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I never really end up with him. But I guess he's I don't have him right now.
He's pretty sweet to have, though. I'm not gonna lie. One of my most fond memories of a fantasy championship was with Trav. But get better soon, Trav. The fantasy world needs you.
Dude, he's your Gronk. He's your Gronk. I had Gronk back in the day in his breakout year too, and it was the most amazing feeling ever.
Tight end is a wasteland already. It doesn't need more injuries. But moving on to a guy that I think I'm a little more concerned about, and it's Mr. Cooper Kupp and his hammy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'll keep it short and sweet. It sucks when he comes back. You hope he's really back.
Yeah.
And when he's back, you start him. You don't think about it too much, and you hope for the best. That's it.
Yeah, I think the concern for like most fantasy managers at this point, because like I guess like there's kind of like a very clear delineation. It was like everybody that drafted before the news got really concerning, because like I feel like we knew about this hammy. What was it, like week 1, week 2 preseason? I don't recall exactly.
Yeah, I believe it was like the practice after the first preseason game. So we didn't even play the first preseason game.
I think it was between week 1 and 2. Yeah. So we've known about it for a while, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I think he was definitely a first round pick up until the point when it was like, oh, he's got to see a specialist, and now he's questionable, and what's going on? Like his draft cost kind of
one of the most disgusting words you can see in fantasy football is setback.
Yes.
And that's what we saw. And right there, all the shit fell out of our ass that we were freaking squeezing so hard for it not to fall out. And then it was like, fuck it. He's done, man. He's done. And, now the reports are potential IR. Rams, like, dude, this was always my concern. And I don't know if I've said it on the channel. I believe I have. Maybe you remember, Paul, but my alarm, my radar for fear factor for the Rams has been way up from the beginning, like before the preseason. Maybe I talked about it in our preview pod, how fragile of a team I think they are.
Yeah.
And now I'm not going to go ahead and like confirmation bias say that I'm right now, but it is seeming to trend in that direction, which has been my fear the whole time. Like the only Ram I drafted was actually last night in a huge tournament, and I'm going to post a video about that draft. here in a bit, where I got him. I had the first pick, 12-team league, and I got him at the 2-3 turn. That was last night, or actually, no, I'm sorry, that was Tuesday night. So I said, I got to risk it for the biscuit here. That's the only Cooper Kupp I have. Anyways, that's not what I'm trying to get into, but I'm scared of the Rams as a whole, and I have been for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like we did talk about it in a previous episode. They're, they're an injury or two away from just saying fuck it, right? And just going straight into the tank mode. And they have players that are legitimately good. I mean, a healthy Cooper Kupp with no concerns around him is a top 3 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
And on a points per game basis, taking away like the injury concerns, he was number 1 last year. So yeah, I mean, like I understand the people that still took the risk even knowing that, but I was not happy about the risk, and I'm feeling very relieved, of course, until the next shoe drops that kills us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's trending on going on to IR, which is really scary too, because then it's like, is he even back after 4 games?
Yeah, if they go 0-4, just lean in.
Yeah.
Go get you a Caleb Williams. He probably would rather stay in LA than go to Arizona.
Well, it ain't up to him. Yeah, there's a good chance they're battling tooth and nail to be the South Park kids against Denver and like trying to lose. Yeah. They don't want to play baseball anymore. Like, which team is just going to be tanking all the way?
Well,
I really
and they have assets, right? Like, what team? Like, there are teams out there that would take a Matt Stafford, even with his age, even with the current contract situation. There are some teams out there that would give them some precious draft capital coming back that they need, right? So yeah, that's the fear with the Rams, is that they just decide to go not all in like they did a few years ago, to go all out.
Yeah. So okay, that's enough Cooper Kupp talk.
Yeah, it's bumming me out. What else we got?
So let's see here. Like, Juju's knee, is that something you're even thinking about right now? Because I just thought
it was an interesting quote. Not that I have a lot of shares of Juju, but a ticking time bomb, really? Like, I've just never heard a part of someone's body be described like that in the rumor sphere. So yeah, I mean, if you were in on Juju, I think that you need to get out now, because that's concerning language.
So, and I'm on the opposite side of the fence on that, of like, not a concern until it is.
Okay.
The guy can play football, let him play football. I guess the guys we talked about before, just about maybe 2 weeks ago, not even, maybe a week ago, are both first-round picks in fantasy. Juju's what, 9th, 10th round, something like that. So whatever.
Fair enough.
If you lose Juju, your team isn't sunk. It's all right. So yeah, I'm not really worried about it. Man, so this is a good question. And sorry, go ahead. You want to add to that?
No. I didn't have anything to add. I was going to move on, but it sounds like you're already doing it.
Yeah, I am, Paul. Moving on from you. I need a new man.
Heartbreaking.
Just like maybe one day the Steelers say that to Najee. You know, the guy they told you not to worry about, Jaylen Warren. You know, this dude, man, the hype train is insane. All aboard.
Twitter loves him. Twitter loves him.
I don't know much about like how Twitter works, except that your opinion will be vehemently just absolutely wrecked no matter what you say, what qualifiers you put in. It doesn't matter. Someone is going to read the first 3 words and then absolutely eviscerate anything you have to say.
Twitter is a cesspool, and that's what it's there for. And yep. And nothing's really changed. And I like to jump in the cesspool because I like the cess personally, but it's not for everybody. But yeah, dude, the Jaylen Warren hype is real. So like, I guess that's the question. Is he really going to take Najee's job?
Nope.
Okay.
And you know that I love him. I think he's going to be great. Is he going to take his job? No, he's not. The Steelers are going to absolutely put this dude on the field, but I would very, very, very much doubt he all of a sudden is getting like 60%, 65% of the snap share. I think more likely they find a way to put them both in the field at the same time. I think that could be a dangerous combination for them, a dangerous formation for the Steelers. So I think if Warren is getting more snaps, it's not completely to the detriment of Najee. That's my take on it. But he's a good player, and he's going to have some big plays that's going to make you want to think twice about leaving him on your bench.
My view on Najee versus Warren is pretty similar to yours, but I kind of see them as a light version of Zeke and Tony Pollard for the last couple of years.
True.
Zeke's going to get worked in. He's going to get his touches. There will be times where it will be annoying because it seems like the other guy should get the ball more, but the team doesn't care about our stupid little fake football games. They're going to, they're going to like split those touches, and it's probably just going to be honestly kind of annoying. But I think a more concerning situation even than that, because I agree with you. I don't think Najee's value is just completely cratering. Somebody's value that is cratering right now in drafts, JT. We talked about him a little bit the last episode we did before all this shit hit the fan. I think that the shit was like kind of like getting close to the fan. It was like about to hit the fan, but it didn't hit the fan yet. Now he's on the pup. Now the vibes are at an absolute low, the lowest of vibes. Is JT playing this year? Some people drafted him very early in drafts, and I'm sure they'd want to know.
I think I was debating him as a keeper like all off season. Even before all this happened, I decided I really was heavily leaning no. But then after that, I mean, it would have been a first round keeper. So obviously after all this drama happened, that was never an option.
Yeah.
So is JT playing? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
I think the answer is both yes and no. He is going to show up on the field when he's healthy and his IR stint is over, which I'm going to assume that he's going to be healthy enough come week 5. Into what capacity is he going to play? Is he going to be out there mailing it in? Is he going to be getting phantom injuries? I think he is like, I'm sorry if this sounds disrespectful, but like, because I'm a huge fan of our U.S. military, but there are some people in the U.S. military which that last year of their tour, I'm sure they're kind of mailing it in. Like you know what I mean? They just
no question.
They don't want to be there anymore. They've had enough of whatever crap they've had to deal with, and all respect to those people who do that. But there's got to be people like, man, I just can't wait to get home. And I feel like JT is.
I'll bet you there's some people that feel that way before their last year too.
I'm sure. That's a bit of a touchy subject. I don't mean to disrespect anybody. That's not the point of this, but I just feel like JT he's so done, but he can't legitimately be done yet. He's got to like serve his time essentially. I guess maybe that's even a better analogy. He feels like a prisoner right now, and he's going to be like, I'm going to just get through this, survive.
Right.
And as soon as I can get out of here, I'm out of here. Hopefully I get out of here on good behavior. Like,
I guess your horrible anti-American take was all to just illustrate that maybe JT will not be the most inspired football player coming back.
Yes, yes. It was.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm a Colts fan. I agree. It's hard for me to imagine him being the same guy coming back. We already were concerned about what's going to happen with his pass catching. Traditionally, that kind of goes down when you have a quarterback that likes to run a lot. I think that where he's going in drafts now, I've actually taken him because I think the value prop is enough now to justify the risk. If you get a guy that gets even close to where he was 2 years ago, right? Then, even if it's on a limited season or a shorter season, I think it could be worth the risk now with the draft drop. But yeah, prayers up to everybody that drafted him. But before the pup thing, I think you're going to be in for a rough early part of the season for sure. So, yeah, I'm in agreement there.
Yeah, it's hard. I know most drafts by the time this comes out are done, but man, it's been hard to draft him. Like, I want to say in the league I was in yesterday, he went at like the 4-5 turn. Pretty insane drop there.
I got him in the 6th in a draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the spot to draft him because obviously he's super talented, but as long as he's somebody who's going to be like, you're drafting him like in a flex spot to start and then obviously taking him out, putting in another player there. But like, as long as he's not in your RB2 spot, God forbid RB1 spot, after a draft, like, I think you're okay. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I got you.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying in a weird way. Like, if you draft him in the 5th or later, I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe Mixon. We talked a little bit about, or we want to talk a little bit about Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I just thought it was a funny, not funny. Reading into the story, it's not funny at all. Apparently, he allegedly pulled a gun on a lady. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I've never seen the words aggravated menacing before. But he was found not guilty for aggravated menacing.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
I don't know much about Joe Mixon except for he really hates women.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't his first thing, right?
Well, yeah, right when he was about to be drafted, he punched that girl in the face. Coming out, and what was it, Oklahoma? That's where he's from, right? Oklahoma, I believe.
I don't remember the college.
I want to say it's Oklahoma.
Yeah, I do now that you mention it. I remember that story. So, man.
Yeah. He punched the girl, pretty sure knocked her out. Like, yeah, I mean, he was an 18 or 19-year-old when he did that. Not cool, not ever cool. Really hitting anybody's not a good idea, but especially not hitting a woman. And dude, when that happened, I was like very forgiving because you're a kid, you lost your temper, you did the worst thing you possibly could have done in that situation. To me though, you're a young guy and the girl was provoking him. It's not okay. But man,
you're a grown man now, and if that story's true, that's bad vibes. But apparently, he's not actually going to get in trouble because when you're good at football, it's really hard for you to get in trouble, particularly when there's no video about it. Cough, cough. So bad dude. How about you try to break the 5 yards of carry marker instead of trying to break a chick's face? How about that?
Right. I will say, I like him a lot in fantasy this year.
Yeah, agreed. Same.
He doesn't seem to have a ton of competition behind him. Say what you will about 5th round Chase Brown and Chris Evans, who has been there for a bit. Whatever, dude. These are just names that we might know. Mixon's the guy. He's gonna be the guy, and he's on the Bengals. So
yeah,
don't have to say much more than that.
No, I mean, from a fantasy perspective, I just don't see a reason. I just don't see a world where his volume is truly, truly threatened. So yeah, really
and
good.
He's got weekly touchdown upside. You know, just being on that team, he's
Yeah,
gonna
no
have.
shit. He dropped 6 on my ass last year.
Yeah, it was a lot that one game, and you know that's something that I think has been a detractor from him is people look at his where he ranked, his points,
Yeah.
total points. A lot of it came in one game, but I don't even care. Like, if you can get Mixon in the third or fourth, you're getting a really good player with a touchdown upside week to week on a good offense.
I'm even taking a look at him at the 2-3 turn, and I have for sure. So good for fantasy. Sounds like probably bad for life, but
maybe.
Are there any other pieces of news you thought were interesting that you wanted to get into, or you just want to get into this?
No,
this
it's really just
Thursday night matchup.
Some minor injury things. I'd say like JSN's going to play week 1. Looks like so. That's if you drafted him, that's awesome. If you have Geno, that's good. I guess Christian Watson has a bit of a hamstring injury. Who knows how serious that is? I don't know the severity.
He had some soft tissue stuff last year too.
True.
Yellow flag.
Yeah, a little scary, but you know, he plays, you play him. Who else? Mark Andrews looks like he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle looks like he's going to be fine. Kittle.
Yeah, he's back practicing.
Burrow should be fine. So a lot of these, you know, lingering injuries are just kind of preseason nonsense. And don't get too worried if you see that Q next to your player's name. Like,
there's a whole lot of Qs on the apps right now, but I think everybody that you mentioned, at least what I'm hearing, it sounds like they're going to be fine.
So yeah, these fantasy platforms, they do like to throw that Q in your face, like for anything. And just remember, this is week 1 now of the NFL. Wednesday is that day where dudes rest or, you know, are limited in practice just because they're veterans and whatnot. Do not panic on Wednesday. Now, if it's Friday, then, you know, maybe look at it more.
Thursday, Friday is when I'll start sweating for sure.
Right. So, Paul,
when waivers is already done.
There is a NFL football regular season game on tomorrow night. As I've said, when you guys are watching, probably tonight.
Best Thursday night game of the year.
Thursday night football, the opener, the only Thursday night game that I like. Let's talk about it, man.
Yes, sir. KC versus Detroit. First of all, Goff versus Mahomes with these offenses and these teams going at it gives me those vibes of that Rams versus KC game where Goff and Mahomes dueled before Goff completely fell off a cliff after that Super Bowl. But he's back. He's back with a great offense. I think that the points are going to fucking fly all over the field. It's a little bit of a bummer that Trav Kelce isn't a part of it because I think that my football rection would be at 100%. It's at like 95% because Kelce's not there. But realistically, Mahomes is a wizard. He's going to toss some tutties. Neither of these defenses are very good. No Chris Jones on Kansas City, so I think that makes a big difference.
Better for offenses. Yay.
Better for offenses. So I'm thinking it's going to be a tasty one. Big week, big scores.
Yes, and you look no further than Vegas. It is the highest over-under of the week to start off. So the NFL gave us a nice treat to start off the season. Thank you, NFL. We're not worthy. So
they know how to give the people what they want. They don't know how to give the running backs what they want, but they know.
That's the owners.
People what they
that's
want.
The owners. Okay, it's different. It's different. So, dude, let's just kind of break this game down a bit. Like, if you have to pick a game script, I guess we're kind of already there. Like, I feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I do feel like it's going to be a coast-to-coast or wire-to-wire, if you will, for KC, regardless. Like they're going to get up.
You think KC is going to be pretty comfortable in the driver's seat?
I do. I think the fourth quarter might get a little dicey because it's the fourth quarter and Detroit's going to be, unloading everything they got. But yeah, I do. I feel like KC is going to be leading the whole time, which, spoiler alert, I have them winning, but I won't say my score prediction yet. I'll save that. Is there anybody? So obviously, sadly, Kelsey's out. The big names we're excited about. Obviously, everyone's starting Mahomes. You don't have to say that. And that's other than that, like, well, of course, amon-ra St. Brown is everyone's starting amon-ra. Who else are you happy to start tomorrow? Is it just to send everybody in, like charge, or what?
Everybody that you can and you're comfortable with, send them in. So obviously amon-ra, easy in. Patty, easy in. Oh man, the Kansas City receivers. Look, I think week one is tricky because I think week one you usually start your studs, right? You usually start like the top guys you drafted. But if you have a flex spot that you're not necessarily in love with, then you pick your favorite KC receiver and you take your shot. Because I think because two of them are going to score touchdowns, in my opinion, in this game. I don't know which two, and it might be totally random. But, if you're a Kadarius Phoney guy, like I particularly am not, then go with him. I'm more of a Sky Moore guy myself. So if I had to pick one of those guys to score a tutty, if you put a gun to my head, I would probably take my shot there. I even think their tight end is in play potentially if you're a Travis Kelce owner and you need an emergency pivot. So, I think that for the most part with the Kansas City pass catchers, you're calling your shot. I think Jerick McKinnon is definitely playable. I think that we're vacating targets. We're vacating targets around the goal line, and we're vacating targets usually in the middle of the field. Honestly, I think that usually lends itself more to being a pass-catching running back friendly stat than it does actually being one of these receivers, even though, of course, the targets are going to get distributed, right? So, like, if you have the steel balls to do it, and if you have the roster construction where you're into taking a shot at your flex and you believe, I think circle jerk McKinnon's in play here. That's on the Kansas City side.
So something that I like to do to try to like figure out probabilities for games is, well, of course I like to look at the line and the over under, but I like to try to guess at just the amount of touchdowns I think that's going to be scored per team and then distribute those. So I have Kansas City scoring 4 touchdowns and I have Detroit scoring 3. I believe all 4 of those touchdowns are going to come from the arm of Patrick Mahomes. So then where do they go? That is really the question to ask yourself. And you have to kind of just guess at it because Kelsey's a shoo-in almost every week, but he's not on the field. Like 99.9% sure that he's not going to be on the field. So then you have to ask yourself where they're going to go. With it being such a high over-under, I am going to take my shot in the league on throwing Sky Moore into a flex for 2 reasons. 1, the high touchdown potential for the Chiefs, and 2, fantasy football is supposed to be fun. I want the excitement of cheering for a dude on the opening game. So now my Friday might be severely affected positively or negatively.
No, that's why I said that. That's why I made the steel balls comment. It's a steel balls thing on a Thursday night to throw in a speculative play in there on week 1.
Right. So yeah, dude. So who do you have winning this game?
Man, you want man, I feel like I didn't want to bury the lead, but I guess I will say this. Patrick Mahomes is a football genius, and betting against Patty Mahomes is usually a great way to lose money. But when I think about the Kansas City and I think about like the dudes list, right? Quote unquote, like who are the best dudes, quote unquote, on a team, they have three dudes that are their alphas. Patrick, number one, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. Two of those dudes are out. So two out of their three amigos are gone in this game. I think Detroit shocks them in Arrowhead. I think it's a 33-30 crazy upset at the end and kicks off a wild season. That's my prediction.
I love it, man. I love it. I have it gonna be end up being a close game, and I said KC is gonna go wire to wire and win this game, but pretty dang close, man. I got 31-27 Kansas City.
Okay.
So
I think it's gonna be interesting to find out. Did we talk enough about like the fantasy options on Detroit's side? Like,
no,
I know
really
that like
didn't.
Jahmyr Gibbs is an obvious in.
We
David
really
Montgomery
didn't.
probably too.
Yeah, we really didn't talk about that enough. So, Jahmyr Gibbs, you're gonna start him. You drafted him third round, fourth round, whatever. High. You're gonna start him, of course. And then the weapons for Detroit are kind of limited without Jameson on the field, right? So you got him. You got amon-ra, of course, and then right after that, your second option is pretty much going to be Jahmyr Gibbs in the passing game. I would imagine. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it's Sam Laporta. Maybe it's one of these randos like Josh Reynolds. Like, I don't think Josh Reynolds is going to.
I think Gibbs is going to eat. I think he's going to eat. I think he's
I
a
agree.
great start.
I agree. I think he's going to get, maybe 14, 15 touches, but like 8 of those are going to be targets. I really think that Detroit is going to be out to prove, like, yeah, we took him 12th overall. Fuck you. He's gonna wreck your ass every game. So yeah, I think
Montgomery's in play in the flex too. I think he's in play. I think he's got a good chance to fall in.
Yep. So of course we needed to talk about that. Sam Laporta, if you're desperate, maybe you go with, you don't get Kelce on Thursday night, but you could pick up Laporta, and if he's on your waivers, and go for it. I mean, he seems like he's going to be necessary for the offense, and
he's talented. He is talented. Obviously, the rookie tight ends, that's a well-traveled road, right, in terms of like them not being super involved in the offense. But he's got the talent, and you're right. It's going to be I think we all feel like it's going to be a shootout. I've got Detroit shocking them in the shootout. Again, it wouldn't shock me if Mahomes is just because Mahomes, like, this would be the last thing to prove it, right? Like, no Travis Kelce, which has actually, I don't believe, ever happened in his career before. Like, if he literally can just throw 5 or 6 touchdowns to a team full of jag pass catchers, then yeah, I mean, like, then he's just guy proof. He's just talent proof. Like, if he's in a game, then that's everything. But I personally believe that Travis Kelce is one too many dudes missing from their dude list.
That's a good way to look at it. And I think a factor that we're not talking about here is they have a pass rusher. I forget what's his first name? Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh yeah, the high draft pick.
Yeah, from the year before.
Yeah.
So, he could be a game wrecker.
Yeah.
Mahomes has had a way of just completely controlling the pocket and making plays, as we've all seen a million times.
And their O-line's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I'd say it's middle of the road, but yeah, it's going to be a fun game. We're excited for it. So
you got KC. I got Lions winning, but we all win because football's back.
Football's back. So something I want to do here is, now this will be for the week, and we'll have another episode talking about more of the games for the week. But I think we should talk about it, and we should have it prepared now because the week starts. Week 1 starts tomorrow. So I want to talk about something and do a little segment. I want to call it the GUARAN-TD. Guys that are like, I'm not going to say Justin Jefferson, or I'm not talking about quarterbacks, because even though crappy quarterback could probably throw at least one touchdown, right?
They should get at least one touchdown.
They should. It's not,
Christ.
you don't want to be like, I guarantee Jimmy Garoppolo will get one touchdown. Like, that's not really helping your fantasy team. So, a running back, a wide receiver, and dare I say, we try to guarantee a touchdown for a tight end.
Flex plays or not top 3 tight ends, guys that like it's going to be hard to guarantee it, but we're going to try to guarantee it.
We're gonna call it a guarantee, and then we're gonna be wrong, and then you're gonna hate us. So
yes,
that's what we chose to do with our life. So, dude, give me your first guaranteed for running back.
My first guaranteed is going to probably feel gross. Brian Robinson of the Manders.
I love it.
Why am I guaranteeing it? They're playing the Texans. The Texans, you can't see my air quotes if you're hearing this, but I'm doing air quotes.
Very hard.
Have the best pass defense of the league last year. Was it because their corners were good? No. It's because their rush defense was just that bad. They can't stop a damn nosebleed up the middle. Brian Robinson is going to get carries. He's going to get the red zone touches. Yeah. He's going to get the goal line, and he's going to punch it into the end zone at least once. Ooh. Guaranteed. If
guaranteed of – so would you say that he's going to shoot one directly into the end zone? Too soon? Is this too soon?
He'll survive shooting it into the end zone. That's for damn sure.
Yes, he definitely will. So I love that call, man. Like, you're right, but here's the counter. Even though I agree with you, I think that's a good choice. Counter argument. But Paul, Ryan is the coach now, and he's a defensive guy. Okay, but you don't have the players.
Yeah, got to have the horses.
I'm sorry, but Will Anderson isn't going to show up and save the day from week 1. It's not going to happen.
It takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
Houston's still they're a year away from being a year away.
It feels maybe even more. But, like, we'll see. Their secondary guys have to work out. Like, was it Stingley?
Yeah.
And, what's their
he looks like he could be a guy.
He looks like he could be good. Like, this is kind of the issue, and this is getting off topic. I'm just going to say it real quick. When you have a dude that goes the hell off, other people get forgotten about, and hold him to that standard, it's okay that Stingley is not sauce right away. That's fine. So, anyways, I digress. Let me get into my running back pick, my guaranteed, and we're going to know about –
and we're going to know right away.
11-something o'clock Eastern time if I was right on this one, and that is not Jahmyr Gibbs, even though he may score one too. My guaranteed, David Montgomery.
Great pick.
Montgomery is going to be used plenty, and he projects to be their short yardage, goal line type guy, and I think that Detroit is going to be down there enough, and Montgomery is a good running back. So with a high over-under game and a good goal line back and not too many red zone targets that are trustworthy, maybe, amon-ra is not the biggest guy in the world, even though he does well around the red zone. Is Sam Laporta really trustworthy just yet? The most trustworthy touchdown guy they have is David Montgomery. And not to forget, he's taken over Jay Willie's role, who got 17 goddamn rushing touchdowns falling in.
Yeah, so probability would tell you that's, about one a game. Sounds pretty good.
Okay, so do I just pick that every single week? Just put it on the board?
Yeah, just consistent. No, I think it's a great pick. You got the over-under. He profiles as being that guy. I have no arguments here.
Sweet. So I'll start off with the wide receiver guarantee since you picked the
Yeah.
first one. All right. So Giants. My fandom is for real. You know this. I'm a homer.
Oh, I see it.
My guarantee, Brandon Cooks of the Dallas Cowpokes.
Gasp.
Why? I'll tell you why. The Giants are starting 2 rookie corners. Now, they have looked good. Preseason and training camp are what they are. When you've got a freaking veteran that has been consistently solid his entire career, going up against a lot of matchups, I'm sure they're going to be against a 6th-round rookie from Old Dominion. Yeah, Cooks is going to cook them.
Matchup.
Cooks is going to cook them on a lot of plays. And Dak and that still very solid O-line probably have some time to throw the ball down the field. The Giants, as much as I would love for them to win, and I will pick them to win, if they do, it ain't going to be a blowout. There's going to be points scored, and I think Brandon Cooks has a very good chance to end up in the end zone.
Thank you.
That's solid reasoning. I personally did not know that the Giants were starting 2 rookie corners. So that's a great call. And honestly, I think that there's probably some strategy here that you're making this guarantee that if you're wrong, you will low-key be a little bit happy about it because it didn't happen. But, you know, if you're right, you called it. So I think that's a strong strategy.
I'm a winner. I put myself in win-win situations. What can I say?
I like that. Well, I put myself in, I guess, a lose-lose situation here with my guarantee, but I am very confident about it. My guarantee at receiver for week 1 is Gabe Davis.
UCF.
Ooh, yeah, it's a little bit of the UCF ties maybe subconsciously, but the reason why I believe this is I just think that Josh Allen is going to find a way to score a couple touchdowns. I certainly hope so, as you know. I think that Bills Jets could be like a kind of a little bit of a sneaky low scoring game in week 1, unfortunately. Both these defenses are pretty solid, but I think that the smart offensive strategy is going to be probably testing the opposite side of Sauce Gardner. Sure. Sauce is going to spend a lot of time on Steph. And of course, like, you know, it's football, right? He's going to win some plays. He's going to lose some plays. I do think that there's still a good chance that Steph finds a way to get something going. But, you know, if they bring him help or if otherwise they just want to test another side of the field, I think Gabe's going to get an opportunity for a deep one. And I think he cashes in. I think Gabe gives you his patented 2 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. And everybody's going to scramble to put them in their lineups, put him in their lineups in week 2 just to get goosed. But not you people, because you're smart and you listen to me and you're putting them in week 1 now and getting your guarantee.
I like that guarantee. And I got to say, Paul, so we did not talk about this before. You know, we didn't collaborate on these before we did this. He was like in the running for me to pick a guarantee. Actually, I was thinking the same exact thing.
That's because you're smart. You know ball.
I will say, now I hear that narrative a lot, and I don't think it's wrong. But the counter argument to, well, Steph's going to have Sauce on him. Well, guess what? Sauce has got to deal with Stephon Diggs too. He's a damn good receiver with a damn good quarterback. So Sauce is going to look. He's not infallible. Okay. Regardless, that's no detriment to the pick. You know, I'm not disagreeing.
As a Bills stack owner, I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna like completely rip them out of my lineup or do whatever.
You think, you know, your chance at a 30 burger is very low from Stephon, but if you get 15, 16, you're still like, okay, that was good against a hard match of week 1. Do you want to start for tight end?
Yeah, I never want to start or finish tight ends. I don't want to be involved at all. But since you're making me, I will give you my guaranteed at tight end. Cole Kmet. What's my reasoning behind it? To be honest, I just took a shot in the dark. I don't feel good guaranteeing very many tight ends, but I kind of looked at the matchup. I see that Green Bay traditionally is kind of like lower middle of the road in terms of a matchup for tight ends. So I just took my shot there. I think Justin Fields tosses a couple, ends up stealing this game, and maybe one of them goes to Cole. I don't freaking know.
Maybe it's a guarantee. It's a guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Okay. Yes. We are setting
It's
ourselves.
my least confident guaranteed. If you're not hearing that in my voice,
up for a world of failure, just picking tight ends. That's just what we're doing here. But I don't care. We're reckless. We're living in the new world of fantasy football. Okay. Tight ends matter. Or all right. Well, I guess it should be the opposite. But anyway, dude, mine is pretty funny. And I also picked a player who only has 4 letters in each name. Going back to what we were talking about this Thursday night game, you're going to know about this one too.
Yeah. Yep.
Pat Mahomes is going to miss Kelsey. He's going to miss him so much that he's going to think Noah Gray is actually – he's going to just pretend that Noah Gray is Travis Kelsey on a couple plays. And Noah Gray is a guaranteed waiting to happen. So there you have it.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, I think we alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I think that's perfect because why not, right? Like if you're just used to running certain plays for a tight end and, he's not going to have the kind of monster game that Kelsey has. But yeah, I think has as good a chance as anybody to get that little shovel pass in the end zone. And
there's 12 dudes that can score a touchdown from Pat Mahomes, and we're we're just hoping that one of ours hits.
No, I think that's great.
So, kind of to wrap it up here, let's just talk a little bit, and this is just off the cuff. We don't have anything prepared here. I think these get ignored a little too much in fantasy. I don't care about kickers. Kickers are a complete crapshoot. Good luck.
Yeah.
Pick a guy with a team that scores a lot of points and hope for the best. But defenses, man, I feel like defenses get a little too buried, and they freaking matter for matchups. Like they really do. So, do you have a favorite
difference makers?
Do you have a favorite defense for this week, for week 1?
I actually do. And I think you probably know this from being in a couple leagues with me. I love Denver. I love Denver this week. I actually love Denver for the next couple weeks. There's a couple reasons for that. So I think, number one, they are actually legitimately a good defense. They quit on their offense near the end of last season. And I think there were certain games where they were just put in such terrible positions with such bad field position, and it was a tired unit. But dude, I mean, they have dudes all over that defense, like I was just talking about earlier. So I think legitimately they're a very good defense, and they have 2 great matchups back to back, Raiders and Commies. I think they're going to feast on both of those offenses, and that's me. Now, obviously, do I have a favorite defense? I don't know. Is San Fran playing a soft matchup? Is Philly playing a soft matchup? I don't know. I'm not going to pay up for a defense like that. So if you didn't pay up for a defense and you need a streamer, I think the Broncos are a good bet.
Yeah, I both really like that pick and also hate the Broncos defense. Story time. Broncos defense was who I
Oh
had
boy, yes, I remember this.
when I was, fighting for a chance at the finals, and they decided to let Baker Mayfield walk all over them. So that was
Oof.
fun.
Oof.
But no, they're a great pick for this week. I always worry a little bit about a team that has two of the best skill position guys at their respective positions in Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams.
They can make plays. They can make
yeah,
plays.
they can make enough plays to where, I don't think the Broncos are in contention to get you negative points or anything like that. They're just not my favorite pick for week one. My favorite pick week one is Baltimore Ravens.
That's a good one.
Are at home. They project to be winning that game pretty quickly. They're playing against a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And they are always coached well. So I have a pretty good feeling that they end up with, I don't know, it depends on people's formats, but standard formatting, they end up with double-digit points week one.
Yeah, I think that's a great bet. The Ravens now, I from a drafting perspective, Ravens would have been number one for me if I'd had a chance to draft them, but I waited until the last round. And they went previous to me. But yeah, that's a great one. I mean, they got a chance to put up 20, honestly. If the game gets away from them in a hurry.
If they get lucky enough, I mean, no matter how good a defense is, a defensive touchdown is it's mostly luck.
Yeah.
You put yourself in position to get lucky, but still, like, you need a lot of things to break right for it to work out. Some other just bonus defenses, if maybe those teams we talked about aren't available, is I'm gonna say, of course, Washington, because Arizona they're starting Josh Dobbs. Like, it just projects to be a complete shit show.
Arizona's trying to lose actively, and I think the Commanders can do a good job of helping them.
And I believe they're also they're in Washington, I believe.
Yeah.
And then also a good one I like is now Seattle Seahawks. They're at home, hard place to play. The 12th man will be strong week one. No Cooper Kupp. The best weapon on offense is not there. You've got a quarterback with half an elbow and no communication with his teammates. Is Cam Akers gonna break a game open? Like, no, I don't really see him being able to break a game open. He's a good bet in mid rounds this year, being a post hype sleeper, but I don't think that Cam Akers is gonna break a game open. So yeah, I really think that they have a chance to roll against LA.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a game that can get out of hand in a hurry. I like it. I love it.
For
an impromptu segment.
For sure. So that's it, guys. Enjoy the first real game of the season. It's going to be a crazy season. Stuff's going to happen. We're going to be here the whole time. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here, Paul?
Live long and prosper, peeps.
Hey,
see you on the other side.
I'm going to need a Star Trek thing. There you go. He did it well. All right, y'all. Peace.